Okay, so we had quite a bit of activity last night, and what I ended up doing, um, how do I explain this? I should have probably streamed about it as it was happening, but what did I see? What did I see? Okay, so I got in on the 750. It didn't quite make it to profit, um, and then I saw a little bit of a pullback. So the instinct would have been to move the stop to break even, which later on in it would have proven to be another fake out. Um, but I was concerned. I think I mentioned this yesterday too. I was concerned about the 925, this area, the 925 area, not holding up as resistance, and maybe pushing it back down, which it actually ended up doing. But my response to that, as like a hedge, it was to actually enter at the 925, which is probably right around here. I think I got picked up on it. And so what that does is that it makes me in trade against myself essentially, one long and one short, and both targets are beyond the stop loss of each other. So in other words, I can't make full profit unless I manually intervene again. So it's one of two things can happen. I can either and both of them, well, no matter what happens, it's going to be one loss and one win. So what happens is, if I got picked up at the 925, if it goes back down to the 675, the 750 gets stopped out, but the 925 wins for a full profit, and it'll counterbalance each other. So one the win is 100 and the loss is 30, so it's a net profit of 70. What happens if it actually hits the 33,000? My original trade, my original 750 long, hits the 33,000. Then the short at the 925 gets stopped out for 30, and then I get full profit for 100. So either way, no matter what happens, I've guaranteed myself, as long as I don't intervene, I've guaranteed myself a smaller win, a 2 to 1, essentially, instead of a, well, no, a little bit more than a two to one, kind of like a 2.5 to 1, 2 and 2/3 to 1, yeah, 2 and 2/3 to 1, uh, win. So in other words, guarantee myself $70 no matter what. Uh, so what ended up happening? Um, I actually, so in retrospect, I got the win, even though the app didn't show it because it froze because this app sucks. But I got notified on my phone that it hit. So I was like, oh, okay, good. So I didn't really care which of the two hit, right? So that's the kind of mental um, blanket, safety blanket or safety net you can say. It depends on how you think of it. I didn't care which target hit because both would have led to a $70 profit. But if you look at just what happened, what the movement was, I didn't look at it until right now, actually, minutes before I got on stream, is that it just teased the profit to this, and then it teased the profit to this. Like, so in some ways, um, there was room here, and then it shot back up. So there was room here to, um, if I had done nothing, if I had never entered the 925, yes, I would have collected myself full profit. Um, but this is a real roller coaster of a ride to get this close, and then let's see, how close was it? High was 90. So to get within 20 points, for it to not work out and then get really damn close. If I had put the stop to break even, I would have this would have been a loss for breaking. Not loss. It would have been a stop out for break even. That would have been the end of it, and it would have been another disappointing, uh, fake out of like, oh, I moved the stop to break even. I quote unquote followed my rules, and it didn't work out. And this time it would have been extra devastating because I actually had a pullback first, and then it just went beyond that. I don't know what happened. I don't know if there was news today or something like that because it is a Thursday. It is the first. Oh, today is the first Thursday of the month, so there was news. So I mean, but this is the thing. It's like I don't even have time to keep track of all this stuff because I do have a full time job. Um, so this so that would have been devastating to have been caught up in that. And to have a backup order at 675 that never got hit, that would have been another back-to-back, devastating psychological blow dealt to my mentality. And then this happened all very kind of quick. And then from here, it just shot up. So whatever move this was, this is the opening candle right here, complete fake out. Picked up the remaining orders from the 750, hunted everybody who wanted to get stopped out at the 750, or anyone who moved their stop to 750 to a break even, and then it just shot up like crazy and completed the quarter. So this was a tease. This was a real big emotional roller coaster that I fortunately was too busy to be a part of. So what are we looking at now? We're looking at 33,000. I'm looking at this at the 30-minute, but really it looks better on the 1 hour. This is drop, base drop. This is a little bit of a concern, as I mentioned yesterday. The wicks above and below is a little bit of a concern because it gobbles up a lot of the orders. That's what that means. So I like smaller candles as bases, but we have a clean drop, base drop. Wish this light was a little bit stronger, but that's okay. So the order that I left at the 33,000 to go short was still there. It hit. I like what I'm seeing here. I like this uncertainty candle. I wish this was it was upside down. I'd rather see the upside down kangaroo tail to show some selling pressure. Instead of a wick below to show buying pressure. But either way, this is a good candle to see, and I like seeing the red candle here. So hopefully this pushes it back down. I'm pretty confident it can push back down because if I'm not mistaken, let me check this real quick. If I'm not mistaken, this is all due to news that came out today. Today was a news day. Yeah, so today we had the first Thursday of the month. First day of the month, but also the first Thursday of the month. We had unemployment claims, job numbers essentially come out this morning at 8:30 Eastern. We had what else did we have? Manufacturing PMI. I don't even know what this is. It's a red folder news, but I don't even know what it is. Okay, so we had unemployment numbers, and yeah, we just had job numbers come out this morning, and it was, how did it do? It did pretty good. They were both green. Well, one was green. One was one wasn't green, but because it wasn't significant enough. But we just had positive numbers come out today. which is strange that the market went down first and then went back up. But this came up after uh, whatever. I'm not going to concern myself with it and try and figure this out because it's not even part of my routine. But this movement it makes sense. This bullish movement makes sense because it was due to positive job numbers. Bottom line, I'm not going to try to litigate that any further because I don't really care. News doesn't affect my style of trading that much. But what I do pay attention to and what is going for me in my favor is the fact that this positive bullish movement drove price into our entry zone, and then now I'm going to fade it essentially. So this entry isn't just a normal entry, it's an entry that's going to fade a sudden burst movement driven by news. So you don't even need to know that. You just need to see that, okay, look at this, like it went straight up, which means that there's very little friction for it to go straight back down. That's what I'm counting on. And fingers crossed, I can get into complete this trade all the way to 750, and that will complete my challenge. I don't want to get too psyched out about the being this close, like one trade away from completing the challenge. Um, so I don't really want to think about it too much. It's also kind of conveniently or inconveniently timed in terms of what I have going on for the next few days. I'll look at this just to see if I pass the challenge tomorrow, and just to do a account overview. I'm not gonna trade for probably the if I pass, this trade works out and I pass. I probably won't trade for I don't know how long actually, because they have to review my account and do all this other stuff to make sure that everything was above board, during which time I'm not really going to be trading like this, and because they have to review my account, so I can't take trades actually. It would invalidate their review procedure. So I won't be streaming probably, because this is purely for the trading vlog, unless I have a different account, a different challenge that I decide to open, and I can figure out some kind of copy trading situation, because this is a really terrible app, and they're not gonna be bringing in TradingView anytime soon. So I'm gonna request that they switch me over to MetaTrader, which is ugly and a terrible experience, but at least it doesn't have any bugs. So it's the lesser of two evils, and I can go back to charting on my TradingView and then placing orders on the MetaTrader, and hopefully I can apply that hopefully to multiple accounts using a trade copier or something, because this is unsustainable. I don't want to have to continue to use this app. It's the fact that it freezes, the fact that the candles stop printing. Like the one thing that I can't accept is inaccurate pricing. Uh, that's not okay. that's the bread and butter of all of my technical analysis, is making sure that the candles that print are correctly printed all the time, and this app cannot do that. It'll freeze, it'll stop showing, if I switch time frames, like I bet it's reproducible now if I do it enough. If I switch time frames enough, candles will just start disappearing. So that's not okay. Speaking of which, so long as they're not disappearing, let's see if we're finding anything. I like this formation. I like that the momentum, the price is starting to slow down. It went up too quickly for any kind of divergence to really print, but let's see if I get low enough. Do I see divergence? No, it's too fast. You can't see divergence when it goes up that quickly. Yeah, it's just like this rounded corner. You're not going to see any kind of high, like obvious high. What I will say though is that one of the things that had me kind of concerned, and one of the confluence pieces of confluence that had me enter that 925 trade. In addition to it being, there were multiple reasons why that was to me a good idea, even though it wasn't. It was going. In hindsight, if I had done nothing, I would have made more money. It was still a good idea to do it because it provides that kind of mental safety net. One of the other reasons I did that, and I would consider doing it again, even if I wasn't close to passing the challenge account, is that we saw hidden bearish divergence, which indicates a possible continuation, which it did. It did continue to make a new low. It just wasn't enough to actually take my profit. Like, it was very close. It was very close to giving me the profit in the other direction, which is okay. Now I don't understand why this is not showing it like this now, but it was very close. The low was 680, so it was 5 points away from hitting target down here and losing the 750. So either way, this is like, you know, as long as you don't interfere, this is a good move. As long as you just walk away, and that's the point of the move, is to just walk away and understand that if you wait long enough, you've guaranteed yourself $70 in profit. Or in this case, just in my case, for my lot size, for my trade size, it was 70 as opposed to 100. So you can either, risk losing 30 for 100 or guarantee yourself 70. And in this case, it was worth it, even though in retrospect, my original trade would have gotten me 100. I have no regrets. It was worth it because there's possible hidden bearish divergence, which actually did pan out. It created a new low. It was a way to mentally, secure, because I was so close to I'm very close to passing the challenge. It was a good idea to secure $70, because no matter what, whether I made 70 or whether I made 100, I would have been one trade away from winning trade away from passing. So multiple reasons, and also, like, you can also argue here, and I didn't really look at it because I wasn't around to look at it, but you can also see that there was divergence back here, which had me enter at the 1/4 below, even though this technically kind of broke divergence. But then you look at that, you look at a second divergence over here at the low, and you can say, like, oh my god, this is like, if I see divergence going from here, from this low to this low, but this low is a higher low on the RSI, you can have the misconception that this is something where I should have had skip the 675 because it's too close, and then place a limit at the buy limit at the 575. That would have been a misconception, because this 750 was already tested with divergence. So it was already used once. So you kind of used up your divergence ammo, and in which case, this would have been. This is also news driven, so there's also that exception as well. But this is something that you could have taken as a buy stop order, or chased it off of the 825. The 825 would have worked, I think. Yeah, the 825 would have worked after you saw this close, this 30-minute close. So a lot of reasons, a lot of ways to have gotten in. I didn't. Well, you look at it at the 15-minute, super obvious. This is the most active time of the day in the market, is on the open, and you have the formation of, in this case, you don't see the divergence quite as obvious. Yeah, in this case, you don't see the divergence, but you have a formation of That you can't call that a kangaroo tail or anything at all. But you have that bullish engulfing, which makes the most sense. And then you also have that bullish engulfing, almost 50%, but definitely the 61.8% Fibonacci retracement of the candle body itself to have gotten in long, and you would have and it would have worked all the way to the 30.75. So my entry is at the 33.75. Whoops, I misspoke earlier. So not it went past the 33, and I think I'm not sure if I had an order there. No, I didn't. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I didn't because it wouldn't have worked anyway. But I think it's strange because it seems like an order that I would have used, or maybe it's because I already used it. I already used the 33,000. Um, yeah, I think I already used the 33,000 to clear the 750 or something like that. Oh no, that's the trade that didn't that got stopped out for break even and pissed me off. Yeah. Um, so I already used it. That's why it's not there anymore. And then the 33.75 is the backup order that was there remaining and happened to get hit, but it's okay because there's a zone there as well. That's the better way to explain it. I think I explained it the wrong way before. But anyway, either way, I remembered it was this base drop that I'm playing. Hopefully this hits, and hopefully we can move on to the next phase